This video is for smart people. Right now, you'll find out why your wife has no longer feelings for you. There's a so-called Benjamin Franklin effect. It lies in the fact that if we help a person, care about him, show support, then we start loving him more. Moreover, even if you don't have feelings for that person, then there's only one way to love him, doing deeds of love, sometimes by force, until you will catch the feelings. Philosopher talked about this, priests recommended this. This is a working practical recommendation that I'm also talking about. The fact is that our brain, in order to avoid internal conflict, tries to explain to itself. Why do you invest strength, energy, time in a person if you don't love him? And thus, after a while, the brain finds an explanation for this. Turns out that this is a close and dear person to you, and you really start loving him. But nobody says that the principle of Benjamin Franklin works in the reverse direction too. If a woman stops respecting, starts being rude, mean, the brain is also looking for an explanation for this because she can't disrespect a good man, cheat on him, stop loving and leave. Therefore, she's not the problem, but you are. You're not that good. If a self-centered woman begins to become impudent, then the reason for her boorish behavior is not her, but you. Every time when she was rude and mean to you or silently devaluated your efforts, then as a result, she started hating you even more. Men sometimes wonder, how's this possible? Why doesn't my wife have even the slightest sympathy for me? Benjamin Franklin's effect. Well, you got the idea. It all starts with the details. So if a person was rude to someone, then he almost always begins to justify his actions like, I did the right thing, the situation forced me, he's the one to blame. I inevitably start to treat this person badly, although he may not deserve all of it. Same thing with the wife. That is, her irritations and resentment towards you may not be due to your incorrect behavior, but by her destructive behavior that her brain is trying to justify. You're turning from a normal person into a scarecrow. Your image for the woman begins to change for the worse. What intermediate conclusion can we draw? For the wife to love, she must be hardworking, work within the family and for the family. Only psycho-emotional, physical investments in the husband will make her feel that he's valuable, important, and needed. People usually think that if a person loves, then he will invest in the relationship. Turns out that everything works vice versa. If a woman invests in a relationship, only then she will be able to love. In the beginning, it was like that. That is, the woman most likely carried and made an effort. But everything changed when the child was born and even earlier, when the wife was pregnant. You helped her more and not she. It seems natural and not bad because we won't force her to do anything at this moment. In general, children are titanic work. And we again remember the Benjamin Franklin effect. Accumulation of invested forces and energy that transforms in love. That's why it's one of the reasons that mothers tolerate, forgive, and justify continue to love the child regardless of the circumstances. A critical mass of psycho-emotional investments was accumulated that can no longer be said about you. Because in the first 3 years, when a child does not sleep well and is teething, he has to be fed, taken for a walk, and prepare food for him. A woman simply doesn't have time to show acts of love towards her husband. It's probably you out of good, right intentions, who's trying to make her life easier. For you, at this moment, her value and the value of your family is growing. Turns out the life structure of a woman at this moment seems like this. First place, the child, and in the best case, the husband is in the second place. And if a woman is selfish and not hardworking, then only a child has the value. Because for the first time, she invests in someone, and you can perform as an auxiliary function. What do we end up with? One day it happens and you remember it when you understand that your words in the relationship has no power. You begin to appeal how much you've done for the family, how you stepped out of your comfort zone to provide better conditions for your wife and children. You were sure that all the work you put into your family was valuable, but suddenly it turns out that it's wrong. The fact is that the gratitude is a state of mind, it's a feeling. Because you can write everything down on paper, everything you did for your wife in 5, 10 years. She'll read it but may not feel any gratitude. She will say, "Are you trying to reproach me with this? Aren't you ashamed?" The thing is that the 21st century is a time of selfish people, including women for whom the child will have more importance than you. And under such conditions, a family is unable to function normally, just as a woman under such conditions is unable to love you. If a child becomes the main one in the family, then in the long term, not immediately, everyone will be unhappy: the child, the wife, and the father. It's not about loving the child less, but to ensure that respect for the husband won't disappear. Now you see the level of respect, authority, and reverence a woman should have for a man before starting a family, so that after these events, not to be disappointed, to preserve love and increase it. I found some interesting studies. I'll put the link in the description. Hundreds of written works were analyzed: fiction and nonfiction, dramas, letters, treatises, and much more, to understand how people's expectations about family life are changing. What do they want to get? Graph number 1: family and pleasure. We see systematic growth. Families associated with pleasure and joy. Pay attention to the dates and get horrified. Imagine what data we will receive now. The second graph: Call of Duty, responsibilities and family. We see a decline. It's logical. Pleasure does not imply obligations. Also, in this scientific article, it was concluded that for many modern people, the key point in the relationship is the complementarity of consumption. What an interesting term. That family from a work oriented institution reverses into an institution that is pleasure oriented. We know that pleasure in a relationship can only be obtained for a while. Men and women want to rely on love and dopamine, but why, according to the official statistics, women get divorced more often than men? It's simple. Women are in a vulnerable position at the beginning of a relationship, when you can be together, or maybe not. Maybe you get married, or maybe not. Unclear, right? She needs to deserve you. You need to get to this stage. You need to create reasons. But when children are born, it changes everything. Her strength and energy go to the child, while yours go to the family, the child, and the wife. It turns out that if two equally selfish persons meet, they are the same. Then, thanks to the forced labor of a man, he can love a woman and be with her. But for a selfish woman, there are no such conditions for this within the family. Therefore, I'm genuinely surprised by the men who build families with the women who say, "I don't like cooking, I don't want to clean, the household stuff is eating me up. Try to get me." You probably already know that cooking, cleaning is a resort. It's a chill compared to the load that awaits a woman in the future. If a woman isn't accustomed to work, she'll eventually leave. I want to emphasize that work at home is important. That is, there are many women who work hard at home, in the gym, somewhere else. Maybe she has a hobby which swallowed her up, but that's not it. Because at the moment she gets hormones. Dopamine, that's what excites her. But working on the relationship on a dry basis is a different story. In the end, we get a story when a woman with a child feels bad. She says, "I'm sitting at home, I don't communicate with anyone, I'm getting dumber, I'm bored, I want freedom." Motherhood is an exam which emotionally dependent women can pass. And it seems that motherhood and homelessness is a torment. Life is passing by. And now, sum up all the factors that I've already talked about. Why did your wife fall out of love? Stage number one, let's look at it all one by one. There was no habit of work, little investment in you. Stage number two, a child is born, all attention goes to him. Stage number three, you invest in the relationship, and the wife invests mainly in the child. Stage number four, a child becomes the most important one and you don't have a lot of respect anymore. Stage number five, her expectations of family life were not met, which means you get the negativity. Stage number six, Benjamin Franklin effect is activated. The wife begins to behave rudely out of helplessness, and then her brain finds arguments why you are the villain. Stage number seven, when some time passes and it doesn't happen in one day, you hear the phrase, I don't love you anymore. The end. Turns out that this crucial moment happened not yesterday, but a few years ago. You can remember how the woman treated you before the child was born, before you got married, and after. In fact, everything that I said will inevitably happen. Well, let's call it a crisis. A relationship crisis awaits everyone. Whether you can survive it or not depends on your beliefs. If relationships are only about infatuation, pleasure, and dopamine, then nothing will work. The complexity of family relationships lies in the fact that the hostage turns out to be a kinder, more honest, moral person. Sometimes it can be a woman, sometimes a man. It turns out that the partner who protects the relationship is more vulnerable. Horrors usually happen in family life. Also, because when it's just a relationship, it's very easy to maintain a healthy balance. Let's say your woman started to behave inappropriately, you say, that's it, bye bye. But when you have children, then a kinder partner is a hostage. He can just leave. And that means that a more selfish and a more cynical partner receives an absolute power and can do anything. If you ask many people, why do you need a relationship? Do you really need it? A person will say, of course. Because this is love, pleasant experience. Sometimes there are children. What if all these pleasant feelings leave one day? They're gone. Then what? A person will say, well, we need to understand what the problem is. Try to fix everything. Try. Just a little bit. Why be together if it's not enjoyable? Why torture each other? I wish you all the best, and that's why I'm letting you go. That's why I'm leaving. That's how an ordinary person lies to himself. That is, a partner brings harms to their partner, devours and abandons him and says, it'll be better for everyone. What happens when two people meet? And for one, relationships are about a sense of duty, while for the other, it's about infatuation and pleasure. In this case, the first partner will find himself in a dependent position, a weak position, but the second one will treat him very cruelly and cynically, not at once, but after a while, but still. There are such stories when a woman takes care of the child, doesn't sleep at night, prepares food, cleans the house, takes care of herself. But a man doesn't give a damn about all this because his feelings have faded, his attraction less now, and sometimes it's the other way around. When a man works tirelessly for the betterment of his family, meanwhile the woman becomes more demanding and treats him like a servant. Conclusion: if a person associates relationships with pleasure, then he constantly needs dopamine replenishment. For example, a journey, new impressions, changes, passionate intimacy, a beautiful wedding, and everything else. But when a child is born, it blocks all dopamine. There's no time, many restrictions arise, and as a result of this, the partner begins to feel bad and therefore he will treat you worse. And this is a process of accumulation. Cheating or breakup may occur after a few months or even a few years after conditions have changed. Most likely this happened to you. What else surprises me, even those men who watch my channel, they're still trying to come to an agreement, talk, prove, explain something to their wives, sometimes even start fighting. But all of this won't help. When a woman says that she doesn't see any prospects, I don't have feelings, I don't love you, she's talking about her feelings. and you're trying to sign a peace agreement. You continue thinking that the safety of the relationship is primary for a woman. But the point is different. It's just that the relationship doesn't bring pleasure anymore. It's not an argument for you, but for her it is, and that's it. The issue can be solved with words or dialogue. You're trying to make a man without legs run 100 meters. The issue can only be resolved through action, only through influence in her emotional state. How to do this, I explain in several of my products. Let me list them all at once. The first one, what women are like to know the psychotype. Second, hacking female affection, to understand women's love. The third one, if you're about to get divorced, or you already are, it'll be useful to listen to a mini course about distancing. Thanks everyone for watching.